Welcome to James Malcolm's end of the semester cooking video. Today, as you know, we're going to take care of 3 recipes. Our glazed pearl onions and our rice pilaf, as well as the braised chicken. I'm going to break this video down into 2 parts and take care of the rice and glazed onions first, and then later switch over to the chicken just to kind of use my time properly and make the video go hopefully as smooth as it can. In front of me right now I've got my ingredients for both the glazed onions as well as the rice pilaf recipe. I have my glazed onions and I've currently got a few of them already peeled there. I'm going to go ahead and peel the rest of them while the rice is boiling. Going along with the onions, I've got the butter that it calls for, the sugar right here, as well as the salt to taste. So I've got those right there. On the other side, I've got our rice, along with our 1 bay leaf, right there, our onions, 3 ounces of that, and then I've got 1 ounce of the oil there, olive oil, and then our clarified butter. So we're covered on those bases, and then right there, we got all the chicken stock to go. Didn't feel like pouring it out yet, but we're going to pour it into the pot. As far as cooking these recipes go, I've got our saute pan right here for the onions, and then I've also got my pot for boiling the rice right here. So we're good on both of those front. We'll go ahead and start mixing things together and we'll get this video on the road. Alright, starting with step 1 here, heating the butter and olive oil, as well as getting that chicken stock up to a boil for step 3. Okay, I went ahead and completed step 2 with the onions and bay leaf, getting them nice and tender but not brown. And I've got our almost boiling stuff over here, so I'm going to move on to step 3 and toss in my rice. Mix up all the rice there. Okay, went ahead, mixed in, got up all the way to step 5 here. So we poured in the boiling stock and the seasoning salt and mixed in the rice all together. So I'm going to go ahead and cover it and get it into my oven. Alright, so once we get it, pull it back out of our oven here, we're going to be able to fluff it up and be ready to go. So we're going to move on to the onions. Okay. We're moving on to the onions here. I went ahead, I've got them all peeled, as you can see. Went ahead and added the sugar. Can't see it because it's kind of dissolved into the water. Then we got our big chunk of butter. We'll let that stove top heat up. We'll get it up to a boil and we'll start sauteing some delicious pearl onions. Alright, we have just, it'll be a little hot there, but we have just pulled out our rice pilaf. And go, ooh, look at that steam, smells really good. We're going to go ahead and fluff that up and be done with the guy there. As you can see, we've got our pearl onions coming right along, the butter and sugar mixture as well as the water. We're going to boil that out. May have added a little too much water, but we'll see. We'll go ahead and get that bay leaf out of there, and then we'll go ahead and fluff our rice up. Yeah, actually looks like it turned out pretty well. Alright, coming up on that final step with these onions here. A little saute. They are smelling real good. I've got the salt and pepper in there. Toss in action. Alright there, now we're talking. Now we're sauteing. Alright, we're going to let those finish up, get them set aside, and we're going to start on the chicken. Alright, we're back. I've done a little reset of the kitchen because we're done with the onions as well as the rice. So we've set those aside to plate with later. Now we've moved on to the chicken. So we're going to work on the country braised chicken. I've got everything out ready to go in front of me. I went ahead and took the time to prepare each of them prior to setting them all out, just like I normally do. I've got our chicken flour mix here with the salt and the pepper, as well as, you know, the paprika and cayenne, so the mix for the chicken there. I have our green pepper right there, easy as that, chopped them up. We've got our onions as well as our garlic in this dish here. Olive oil, right, like so, right there it is. Also got the mace as well as the curry powder mix for later. Got our butter right there. We go with the olive oil, and of course all of our chicken right down in front there. So we're gonna start getting. Oh, I missed one. We've also got the tomatoes right there. I see I've already prepared them kankise, as you can see here.
Dresses start at just $12 for women, $10 for girls.
We're gonna go ahead, fire everything up for later. I do have a couple pans that we're gonna use today. We're gonna use this pan for our pan fry of the chicken, and then I've got a second one that we're going to use for all of our chicken, veggies, all of that all together right here to mix it all. It's going to be a good pan to increase all of our flavors and make sure everything is nice and braised and ready to go. It is important to note that I did go ahead and take out the almonds out of the recipe because I am allergic to nuts. So we're just gonna get rid of the garnish and that part. Okay, we've moved on. We've got our pile of chicken right there. We've also got the butter and oil. And I went ahead and prepped the onions while I was waiting for the oil to heat up. So I've got the green onions, oil and everything there. As you can hear, pan's already sizzling from my test. I'm gonna go ahead and get this first piece of breast meat. Right there, like it says, skin down. Delicious. Alright, so we're going to let that pan fry. Probably could use a little bit more temperature there, but we're going to get all this cooked up, and I'll check back in afterward. Alright, we've got our chicken nice and browned from our pan fry. Still got a little bit of sound in there. Went ahead, I'm starting to get the heat going on here. We're going to start sweating these out. I've got everything mixed all together, as you can see. Keep it mixed up, keep it stirring, get them sweat. And then we're going to add the tomato, and then we're going to check back in, add the chicken in as well. Okay, we've went ahead, we've sweated our onions all the way. Went ahead and added the tomato as well, like I say, right there. As you can see over here, I'm using some of the scraps, wings, cooking those up in the leftover there. Don't want to waste anything. Don't want to waste any of that extra chicken. So we're going to take our cooked chicken. We're going to go ahead and add it over here. We're going to seal it up and start braising, okay? We're going to add it one piece at a time and get all 8 in here. We'll seal it off. Play a little bit of Tetris and get them all in there. Okay, we have all pieces in here. You can see steam's already coming for that good braising method right there. We're going to cover it up, give it about 25 minutes, and start pulling pieces out. My 25-minute timer is up. I'm going to grab a little towel here. We're going to pick it up. We're going to check it out. Ooh, look at how delicious that looks. Some country braised chicken right there. Okay, I'm going to go and get my thermometer out and check which pieces are ready. We're going to move them over, store them out, and get our plate set for presentation. Alright, so we're done. We've got everything taken care of. I've got everything plated here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera so you can get a closer shot of what we've got going on here. You can see right there. Okay, so on the plate here, you can see we've got our braised chicken right there. We've got our traditional rice pilaf, as well as our onions. Now, I will say the onions don't look as pretty as I'd like. Everything else did come out pretty well. So I'll get this all set back up. So as an analysis of my cooking, starting with the rice, I really didn't come into any troubles. And tasting it as it went, it tasted just fine. Not the first time I've made rice before, so that was pretty easy. I wouldn't say I would do anything differently. I think my size of pan worked out really well for it. And just following the recipe in the book was easy. So pretty good on that front. The onions while they didn't look pretty, were delicious. I probably overcooked them a little bit because the center started to pop out of them, and they kind of got a little deformed. Now some of them, as you can see, like this one right here, looks great. It's perfect. And like I said, oh, it's so good. The caramelization of the butter and the sugar was great. So good. Only I would say that I would make more because it doesn't portion out to the rest of my other stuff. I got more rice and chicken than I do of the onions. But there are plenty of onions in the sauce, the base for the country braised chicken here, and that process all went pretty well. I had dice everything up by myself. I mean, it's a long process. I mean, when it comes to me doing it again, I would find purchase pre-chopped things and kind of make it easier on myself, because as you can see, outside is dark. It started when it was light out, so it's been a long process to make sure all of it's good to go. Now the taste of the chicken is delicious. It's definitely very good. When it comes to getting it to 100, getting 100 of these plates out to people, I think the rice and the onions are going to be really easy. You're just going to need a really big vat of rice to cook. And I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem for most banquet kitchens. They do rice like that all the time. So they're good on that front. Onions, I think you could do the same. Peeling those onions though, oh my gosh, man, was a pain in the butt. And I did Google a method to peel them. So for next time, or for when you're doing 100 of them, so I can blanch all of them so you can just peel them right. And you squeeze them at the end of them, peel them right off. So I think if you were doing 100, it would be very beneficial to go that route, to blanch them so that they're easier peeled. But cooking them up, just a big old stir fry, a lot of people doing it that way. The chicken, utilizing the same method, assuming everybody gets one breast piece or one leg and a thigh, you'd be looking at, you could do the same thing in big hotel pans and then use the oven. I use the stovetop for my braising. You could use the oven and just make hotel pans full of this stuff. And really, since this one serves 8 pieces, you're set at 10, I mean roughly 10, 8, so add a couple extra chicken pieces wouldn't be a problem to expand the recipe for 10 goats. But for 100, you would just need a lot of chicken, a lot of pans. And then, yeah, pretty good on that front. I think, as far as a recap of the semester, it's a good lesson in doing 3 different things. It was a long process, but when it comes down to it, I got myself a delicious meal for tonight. And in front of me here and over there, I'm going to store the rest of it for dinners for tomorrow, the next day, the next day, and the next day. So what happens when you cook for 8 and you're only one person. So that'll do it for James Malcolm's cooking video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next semester maybe.